Hey Yorba Linda, do I have a great episode for you today, but I'm going to make you guess on which small business I'm interviewing today. So let's say your HVAC system breaks down, you hop onto Yorba Linda Buzz and you ask for some recommendation. What is probably the most popular name that you see pop up on there? If you haven't got it yet, let me give you another hint. You see their camo cars driving everywhere throughout Yorba Linda. Yes, I'm talking about Veteran Air. So if you've been part of the Yorba Linda community for a while, you probably know that their service is very highly recommended in this community, and there's a great reason for that. So on today's episode, it's a two-parter. So first today, I'm gonna be interviewing David, and he's gonna go over what their company is all about, a little bit of history, and why it's so important for them to serve the community. And then number two, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you had your furnace tuned up? Now, being a real estate agent and going on inspection after inspection, I can say with pretty good certainty that a large portion of homeowners just don't really maintain their furnace like they should. Maybe they're replacing their filter a few times a year, but typically that's about it. Now, if you're one of those homeowners, don't be embarrassed by it. It's not something that comes when you buy a house and you get a manual saying this is everything you need to do to make sure all the systems in your house are operating as efficiently as possible. So it's understandable that a lot of homeowners just don't understand or know that they're supposed to be maintaining their furnace and HVAC system. And this is exactly why I think you're gonna get so much value out of the second part of this episode where I interview Carlos from Veteran Air, and he's going to walk us through on an actual unit everything that Veteran Air does to maintain furnaces on an annual basis to make sure three things. Number one, that they're operating safely. You're mixing flame and gas together in an enclosed space. You want to make sure that unit is operating safely, especially before you start using it more often during the winter months, and so it's safe for you and your family. Number two, you want to make sure it's operating efficiently. So you want to make sure you're saving as much money on your energy bills as possible and make sure that it's heating your house efficiently as well. And then number three, you want to make sure that furnace system lasts as long as possible. If you've ever had to replace an HVAC system before, you know that it could cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And if you're trying to replace it in the peak months, let's say during the holiday months, you're trying to have a party and all of a sudden your heat goes out, it could take you a while to get all the parts and the labor needed to be able to replace it. And in the meantime, you're freezing your butt off inside your house. So if you want to prevent all of that, that's what the second part of today's episode's about. So make sure you stay tuned for that to understand what it takes to make sure your furnace is safe, efficient, and lasts as long as possible. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hey everybody, I want to welcome you and welcome to the show, David from Veteran Air. David, thanks for joining me today.
Appreciate the opportunity, sir.
Thank you. So David, go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself before we start talking about the company.
Okay, so obviously my name's David. I work here at Veteran Air. It's an honor to work here actually. I live in Yorba Linda, born and raised, lived there my whole life, still raising a family there. I'm one of the project managers here, so you'll see me around giving estimates and just going over the needs of the customers, which is pretty awesome. I've been here almost about 2 years now.
Okay.
Yep.
And so can you tell me a little bit about Veteran Air in general? So obviously you've got veteran in there, so kind of explain why it's named that way. Sure. And what Veteran Air is all about.
Absolutely. So Mike Anderson, as a young boy, helped his father. His father owned a company called Denny's Air, Rick Anderson. And after 9/11 happened, he got real inspired to serve in the military and really just fight for our country. So he went and did a tour to Iraq, came back, worked with his father for a little bit longer, and his father said, you know what, I think it's time for you to kind of do your own thing and get out there. So he's very respected in the community, and I respect him so much too.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, if you live in Yorba Linda, I've lived here for a while, you probably know by now, a lot of the events, you see Veteran Air sponsoring them. So that's one of the reasons that I want to interview them on the show, is because they are very active in this community and making sure that they support. So in terms of supporting, so you have Veteran Air, do you guys only hire veterans? Do you hire anybody? Is there anything else behind the Veteran Air?
So it's definitely a plus, I guess,
okay.
if I want to put it biased for the military guys, but we do have some Marines, okay. some definitely some veterans. I would say maybe about 30 or 40% are either have served okay. or currently serving.
Okay.
But you don't have to be a veteran to work for Veteran Air.
Gotcha.
You just got to be a good, hardworking person that's honest.
Perfect. Okay. So Veteran Air, can you tell me a little bit about the actual company? So what kind of services do you guys offer?
Sure. So we specialize in air conditioning and heating for both residential and commercial. The business has been around since 2009 and just thriving. And a lot of that has to do with the support from the community.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then one of the things I did want to bring up, because it's something as a real estate agent, I see this often where we go through home inspections
Sure.
and you go through and inspect the AC, you expect the condenser, and it just hasn't been maintained. It's in bad shape. So is there other services besides just replacing ACs and the HVAC systems that you guys offer that could help maintain these systems so people, when they go to sell their house, not only were able to sell it at a higher price, but if they're living there for a longer time, are not going to have to worry about these thousands of dollars of repairs that eventually come when you don't maintain your AC properly.
No, and you hit it on the nail. So definitely want to make sure you're maintaining the system, making sure the coils are clean, condensers cleaned. We do offer obviously a maintenance plan, a VIP membership.
Okay.
It's a little bit over $200 for the year. We come out twice a year, once for the heating side and once for the air conditioning side too. So
Gotcha.
it's very important. That's going to help your system reach its full efficiency and also last a lot longer than if you don't maintain it.
Yeah, which is one of the big expenses on houses. So if you don't have that maintained, you're just waiting for something to break. It could be thousands of dollars, so make sure you do that. And then with that, you do also offer discounts on the service if you do need service on it, right?
Correct. Being a Veteran Air member, a VIP member, you do get some discounts on services, and also if in the event you do need a new system. Another one of the perks also, being a part of the VIP membership, is you do get pushed to that front of the line too.
Okay.
So if there's an emergency, it's super hot, your system goes down, you being a VIP member, then we kind of push you at the top of the list.
Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect. And then one other thing, I'm sure you probably see this and hear about this a lot, but the thing that I see a lot in the industry is that people do not maintain or replace their filters. So is that part of the program as well that you offer with the membership?
So what we'll do is we'll make sure that the filter is clean.
Okay.
We live by airflow before charge, so we want to make sure that it's breathing correctly. So twice a year we'll make sure that filter is clean.
Okay, perfect. And then is there anything else that you can think of that you really wanted to highlight about the company, yourself, what's been going on recently that you want the community to know about?
Sure. I know that Mike's a big advocate of being giving back to the community.
Yep.
And I know that if he were here right now, he would want to thank the community for helping us with that goal. He does want to give back so much to the community, and without the support from the community, we aren't able to do that. So
yeah, and I see that all the time. If you're on Your Belinda Buzz, if anybody asks for an AC recommendation, you always see Veteran Air as someone that pops up because the community has so much respect for them, as well as all the different events that you guys host in there.
Sure.
Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I have for you today. So thank you for joining today's show.
We appreciate it.
Until next time, everybody, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye. Hey everybody, welcome. Today I welcome Carlos to the show. Carlos, thank you for coming. He's from Veteran Air, and he's going to talk about what you need to be doing to prepare your furnace to get ready for winter. So Carlos, go ahead and kind of walk us through some of the things that people need to know about the furnace, as well as what you guys usually do to get furnaces prepared for the winter time. Now, especially now we have a rainy day today for once.
Yes.
What people need to know to make sure that everything's working great before they have to start using their heater more frequently.
Yes. Everything is that we go through, a lot of it's preventative maintenance.
Okay.
Something as simple as changing your filter, just reminder, change your filter.
Yep.
That's the big key factor, something that homeowners can do.
And how often should people be doing that? Because
We recommend every 90 days.
Okay.
But it depends on usage. So every home, it varies.
Okay.
But rule of thumb is 90 days.
Gotcha. Okay, so can you kind of walk us through what your general processes to make sure the furnace is ready for the winter time?
Yes, so a lot of it is going over the safety of the furnace.
Okay.
Because everything that we have inside here, everything is in the elements of safety.
Okay.
So I'm going to be going through and checking all the electronic components, checking safety switches, just to make sure that we are within manufacturer spec of how the machine is heating the home for the winter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect. And so this is part of the plan that you guys have, that you go out twice a year. So once during the springtime, before you tend to use your AC more often, and then once during the winter time or right before winter to make sure your furnace is
Correct.
Okay.
So you hit the nail on the head. So definitely twice a year is what we have to do.
Okay.
One in the springtime, one in the fall as well.
Okay.
That way it's in operative conditions throughout that time.
Gotcha. And then what you do in the springtime is pretty much completely different than what you're doing in the winter time as well.
Correct.
So it's not like you're doing the same thing twice.
Correct. Because we have 3 components.
Okay.
The furnace is one that's used for both for heating and for cooling.
Okay.
But the air conditioning component here and the one outside is just for air conditioning purposes on this style home.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go walk through basically what he's doing to get a furnace ready for the winter time.
One of the first things that I do is I check the air filter. And as we can see, filter's dirty. We see pet hair on it. So definitely it was due up for replacement, which is why we're here. Something simple that where I start off with is the return cavity down here is I'm gonna be pulling out this blower wheel assembly. We're gonna be vacuuming out the whole cavity itself just to get rid of all the other dirt, dust particles, hair, everything else that's stayed down there.
And I have a husky, so I'm sure there's plenty of it.
Yeah, so especially with homeowners that have pets, it's definitely one of those things that we do to take care of is vacuum out that return cavity.
Okay.
Things that we're gonna be checking out: circuit board, making sure all these resistors, none of them have been frayed, or we look at spots where we see some resistors that are starting to fail. Be checking out the blower motor. All this in a little bit, you're gonna see me pull this all apart. We're gonna, first and foremost, again, we're gonna cycle the unit too. And then up here, we're gonna work our way up, and then we're gonna go through the gas assembly. We are gonna go through and tell you all the features of when the system operates, what it does in sequence before it even fires up. So right now I overrode the thermostat, so I just jumped it right here just to turn on and call for heat. First things first, it's gonna turn on the blower motor. After that, it's gonna go through and check safety switches. We have rollout switches throughout the unit. Right there, it passed through all the safety inspections in here, so it said, hey, we're good to go. The igniter kicks on, gas valve opens up, and now we have our flame.
Gotcha. I'll turn the light off real fast for some dramatic effects so you can see it a little better.
Yep.
There you go. Blue flame right in there.
And then right after that, then our blower motor turns on, and that's how we have heat in the home. So usually at this point, now that the machine has been running for a good couple minutes, ideally after 10 minutes, with the manufacturer spec right here, it tells us we should have a temperature rise of 35 to 65 degrees. What that means is the air coming in to the air being supplied, we should have a difference of 35 to 65 degrees. That's where we want that range to be. And that's where the safety inspection tune-up comes into play, because I can adjust this gas valve to the amount of gas and make sure that we have to the amount of heat to go inside. So that's where it's very critical for us to do the maintenance, because we would never want this to overfire and overheat inside your house. Right here is when we can go inside your house and I can use my temperature gun and we'll take some readings.
Okay.
This isn't super accurate, but it at least gives me an idea of how the machine is operating, because this measures surface temperature, not exactly the air temperature coming out, but it actually just gives me an idea of how the system is operating. So, and the battery is going low, of course. 69 degrees going in, and we have 103 coming out. So we're at 34 degree difference. Okay. So I do that around the home, and then I can kind of see how it's heating and being distributed.
Okay, so how much is the subscription for the twice a year for them to come out, and kind of what does that cover?
Yes, that's a good question. Our annual maintenance plan Not only does it cover the 2 visits, one in the springtime, one in the fall, you also get a lot of different benefits along with it. You get priority service, priority scheduling when it does. If something were to happen in between visits, then we come out, you get front of the line service. Then our non-member clients that come in requesting repairs or troubleshooting. That's one of the biggest things. You get discounts on repairs.
Okay.
Also, in the inevitable factor where you do come across where you need to replace it, you also get discounts on replacement as well. You get discounts on indoor air quality products, air scrubber, anything with ducting as well, whole house fans, anything that's in the indoor air quality product line. You get discounts with that as well. One of my favorite ones that I like is our membership savings bank. That's one of the things that really sets us apart from the other companies. And what that is that $213.12 that you pay annually.
Yep.
It goes into a virtual account. It's pretty much your little piggy bank.
Okay.
In the inevitable, when we do have to replace it, you get some of that money back when it comes to replacing the unit.
Okay.
If you replace just the unit by itself, you get 50% back towards the new unit. If you do that with ducting, then you get 100% of that back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
yeah, that's a giant benefit.
it's a huge benefit.
Yeah, and especially for the getting first in line, especially during the summertime when your AC goes out to 105 degrees.
Correct, exactly.
It's nice to have be able to get in there quickly.
It always happens when we least expect it, and usually when we have
the worst time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna start taking it apart, and then we'll go through it. So right now I'm gonna pull it all apart. As we can see inside here, all the passive dirt that goes through your filter, because the filter is only gonna collect about 60% of actual dust particles. Everything else is gonna pass through. It's gonna collect inside here, the blower wheel, also go through the rest of the system in the evaporator coil. So those are all the things that we're gonna be looking at, because preventative maintenance, dust is the actual leading factor of a failing system. An eighth of an inch of dust on this blower wheel will cut the efficiency of about 30%, which that's where utility costs kind of factor in. Like, hey, my machine is always on. A lot of the things can be addressed and fixed just by our simple tune-up, that we do. Honestly, when you see it, you're like, it's not that bad. And watch, after we clean it, you'll see the difference. And you'll see how much actual dirt is here.
Delicious.
So that's everything that's circulating back into your home. That's what we're breathing. That's everything. So at the end of the day, we're never bringing in new air into the homes. We're just circulating it, and we're just changing the temperature. So these are key factors to what we got to do. Think of it almost like a circulating fan, like a ceiling fan, right? When it's operating, all that dust gets collected on those fins. If you don't take off that dust, all those layers on top of it, it stresses out that motor. So that's just weight that you're putting on it. Same thing as this is extra weight that's being put on it, just years and years of just usage throughout the seasons. And one of the things that we want to do is remove that, because then that means the motor is going to struggle a lot less. So that's how motors last the whole life expectancy. Failed motors preventatively or prematurely, is because of the dust of this never being cleaned out. That's usually the leading factor of the motor failing. things I'm going to show you right now as well too that we do on our maintenances. This is your flame sensor. This is pretty much what sits right where the flame comes out, and what this does is literally the name of it, flame sensor. It senses the flame. If it doesn't sense the flame, this is one of the biggest things that we get calls on. That's the leading factor of the furnace not working. Sometimes it's just a dirty filter. If it's not breathing right, then with these advanced units, that if it doesn't get the amount of volume of air going in, then it says, hey, turn off for safety. But the other safety component is this flame sensor. As you can see, it has like a green residue on it and things like that. So what we do is we resurface it. That way it makes contact again. A lot of my calls, like I was stating, it's literally cleaning this sensor, because if it doesn't get cleaned out, it doesn't read the flame, and it will cause the machine not to operate. This is your heat exchanger. This is where flame goes through here. This is what heats up inside, okay? So in simple analogy, this is what sits on top of your stove. This is what heats up. Blower motor turns on. That's how you have heat in your house, okay? So what we look at right here is the wear and tear of the heat exchanger, because that's what happens with usage. When a heat exchanger is brand new, you'll have this aluminum finish, almost like the inside of an aluminum can, that nice shiny finish. As it wears and tears, then it starts going through different stages. The first stage, it starts getting this like white phase, and then it starts getting into this black phase. We never want to see a lot of black spots here, because that just means that layer of the metal, the aluminum, it's getting thinner and thinner, okay? So we go through it, we inspect it, we go through each one of the panels. So if I were to rate it, say on a 1 to 10, he's probably at the, I'd want to say like 7, 6 to 7. Definitely those, the black spots are the concerning points. So at this point, where I'd leave with is, hey, I'm gonna find out manufacturer, parts, availability, and pricing. That way we see what, you know, whether we do it preventatively, yep, or we wait on it, and that way we can kind of see repair options.
Got it. Basically, just get a game plan to figure out.
Exactly.
So you know what to expect, know what the repairs
exactly.
Be, and
exactly.
start
and then
it out.
I always like to keep it in line, like what's in store immediately, what can wait, and things like that. So if it's something where, hey, it wasn't working and it was due to one of these rollout switches, then I'd say, hey, you know what, this is what went wrong. I did a further inspection and saw this. Just a heads up, these are other repairs that can kind of be in store for us in the future.
Okay.
So now it's the fun part, putting it back together.
Fast forward if you're putting it back together in 10 seconds. And
yeah, that's when you just, yep. Oh, dang,
done. Look how fast that was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There it goes, glow plug is coming on. Safe, recycled it. It's certified for us to operate in the wintertime.
Okay, everybody, so I just want to go ahead and recap today exactly what just happened. So tell me if I'm missing anything, but we went through, you cleaned out the air box underneath. We went through and replaced the filter. You cleaned out the blower so it's more efficient, get the dust out, make sure the air is clean and clear for anybody inside the house. You went and you inspected and looked at the actual heat exchange, make sure that looks good. We tested everything to make sure that you're getting the proper heat inside, to make sure that the unit is to spec. Is there anything else that I missed on here?
No, you did good.
Got everything? Yes. Okay.
We covered a lot, but yes.
Okay. So as you can see, there's a giant amount of work that goes into this, but it also helps keep your unit running smoothly and prevents those costly maintenance that you have to do once it breaks down. And you just want to make sure that it's working before you have to actually start using it during the winter months, and then same thing during the spring. So this service that they offer, that Veteran Air offers, is a great service to be able to sign up for, because not only is it going to make your unit last longer, but it just gives you that peace of mind knowing that you have the clean unit, you have everything operating efficiently, and you could be saving money too, because when it operates efficiently, it's going to save you on your energy bill. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up about the service that you provide that we haven't talked about yet?
Yes, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
You literally
everything.
Explained it perfectly. That's
Okay.
exactly what we do, and at the end of the day, that's our goal,
Okay.
is to save our customers and our clients money. Not just that, the
Yep.
peace of mind of making sure your furnace is safe for the winter time.
Okay, perfect. Well, this has definitely been an eye-opening experience for me, seeing all the inner workings and what it takes to make sure it's operating as efficiently as possible. I hope you guys got some great information out of this and understand a little bit more about how your HVAC system works and why it's important to maintain it. So until next week's episode, stay healthy, stay happy, and we will see you on the next show. Bye.
Bye-bye.